to The Natural View. I'm Maggie Jaqua. I'm the content director of WholeFoods Magazine, and my co-host is Todd Pauli of 24 Stories Marketing. Hi, Todd.
Hello, Maggie.
We have a special guest today. We're here with Chris Johnson. He's the managing director of Anagenix. Welcome, Chris.
Good morning. How is morning in my time? It's afternoon in your time. How are you?
Right.
Right. Thank you for joining us from across the world. So today we're going to learn more about the benefits of kiwi, and we're going to talk about Anagenix kiwi fruit-based ingredients. So let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about the background that led to the development of kiwi-based digestive products.
Not a problem. Anagenix started out looking to build ingredients that could help the global market, the global consumer with health benefits. We looked at a number of different segments and we came up with digestive health as being a major trend globally and one that we wanted to get involved with. We then had a look around New Zealand to identify a natural whole fruit product that we could then play on in order to help a digestive outcome. And so we originally came up with constipation. Between 35 to 45% of the global population have some form of constipation, whether it's IBS, IBD, functionally constipated at one end, or whether it's lifestyle, menstrual cycles, pregnancy at the other end. So it was a very big area and a very big opportunity for us. New Zealanders over many, many years have known that if you have a constipation issue, the first thing you do is go and buy a couple of green kiwi fruit. And it's just over years this has happened. New Zealand is known globally as being probably the kiwi fruit mega of the world. Zespri is the largest kiwi fruit producer and marketer in the world with global reputation. And so it just seemed like a very nice opportunity to pick up on the household. I'm a bit constipated. I go down to the supermarket and buy a couple of kiwi fruit to build a science story around that with some real efficacy. So we'd end up with a great whole fruit ingredient from New Zealand, which is important for us as a company, that has got a really good story around health in a whole fruit basis. And then we went about building a science platform or portfolio around that to really prove out that efficacy.
What is the difference between the green and the gold?
Okay, so as a fruit, one's green, one's gold. The green is a little bit more tart and is very furry on the skin. The gold is a lot sweeter and the skin is, a lot of people eat the gold skin, but they don't necessarily eat the green skin because of the fur on it. If you look at the actual health benefits gained from those two, both of them have got a prebiotic effect, but the gold is a very targeted prebiotic. In two clinicals, we have shown that the gold kiwi fruit will increase Faecalibacterium pieris, or FPRAL for short. Now, Faecalibacterium pieris is the biggest grouping of good bacteria in your microbiome. And it has been scientifically proven that a whole lot of related diseases, both in digestive, in immunity, and even in cognitive, You've got an increase of getting them if you've got low FPRAL in your microbiome. So we have in 2 clinicals now increased that FPRAL in excess of 100% in every case. So that's a very targeted special prebiotic. The other big thing about the prebiotic with Livaux is that it's the only prebiotic in the market that is a whole fruit. So all the other prebiotics like GOS and VOS, they are inulin, they are all extracts from something. So when you have Livaux as a prebiotic, you're not only getting the prebiotic effect and that increase in the Faecalibacterium, but you're also getting the vitamin C, the vitamin D, and all those other phenolics that really help our digestive system and our working system. Where the green, I'm sorry, Todd.
No, that's okay.
The green has got an enzyme called actinidin. Now, the gold has got a small amount of that, but the green's got a large volume of actinidin. Now, that actinidin digests protein or helps digest protein. So for the green Actazin, we position that for bowel regularity. It helps digest protein, which helps get your bowel moving because protein's a bit of a blocker. So it's a different health outcome than balancing your microbiome with Livaux.
Yeah, I mean, that's excellent. That point, and another big part of the story of any branded ingredient, and something that retailers are helping to educate consumers on as well, is just the sustainability story and the social initiatives that a company undertakes. Anything you want to highlight for us on those fronts?
Firstly, we have got organic products. Mm-hmm. We are GMO free. Mm-hmm. We try in our manufacturing process to be as clean, as green and sustainable as possible. It's all, there's talk about electricity and how that's produced now. And, so we're on top of all that, but we can only do what we can do. One of the big sustainable strategies that we've got as a company is whole fruit. So every product that we produce is whole fruit. We don't extract any components or any bioactives out of that fruit that many of the ingredient companies do around the world. We are purely plant-based whole fruit ingredients.
Excellent.
That's excellent. Yeah. So I want to dive in just briefly on the science of the product. Can you just touch on some of the studies that have been done to support the product and anything you might have science-wise coming through the pipeline?
Not a problem. There have been 2 clinicals now done on Actazin and on Livaux. The first clinical with Actazin was on bowel regularity. And we showed that we could increase bowel regularity in excess of 25%. Now, that is significant. And, like the average person will have a bowel movement between 3 and 5 times a week. If you're getting less than 3, you've got a problem. And many people have that problem. So increasing that by 25% is dramatic for the health and lifestyle of that particular person. So that is a very exciting result. We have just completed a second clinical on Actazin, which backed that up. Things like Bristol stool, was significant. So that's a very nice scientific story. Now, when we did our first clinical on Actazin, we decided to chuck in an arm of the gold kiwi just to see whether there was any difference. And that's when we discovered the increase of the Faecalibacterium parixi in excess of 100% in humans. And as a result of that, we have now got gone on and got a global patent on that, which is very exciting for our business. That is a significant breakthrough. So Gold Kiwi, we now have 2 clinicals that show an increase of Faecalibacterium parixi on both of those clinicals, as well as increase in a whole lot of other good bacteria. However, Faecali is the big win there. You know, we've got clinical trials being done at the moment in Queensland, for example. The University of Queensland are doing a human study on Alzheimer's using Livaux, because they've identified the lack of Faecalibacterium in people gives an onset of Alzheimer's. So, you know, even to the cognitive side, our microbiomes are so important, and the way we look after them and the way we feed them, and that prebiotic effect of the Livaux for balancing your microbiome is essential. The other thing that is really important is that if you take the other prebiotics in the market, they all fermentate at the top of the colon. And that's why if you take a prebiotic, you feel like inulin. Metamucil is a good example, where you experience bloating and discomfort. That's because the fermentation of inulin is all happening in the top of the colon. Actazin and Livaux fermentate throughout the whole of the colon. And what that does is that creates, that prebiotic feeds the bacteria in the microbiome and produces short-chain fatty acids, butyrate, for example. Now, butyrate production, is very, very important for the health of your whole microbiome, right through to the end of the colon. So, we do a lot of science. We now have got another couple of clinicals going on both of those. We are looking at different angles of how, so what we're finding is that where we started off in digestive health for constipation with the green kiwi, we have now gone on to balancing the microbiome. We're now looking at how that's helping, the onset of the likes of Alzheimer's and other cognitive diseases. We are now learning as a world, as a global science community, that the microbiome is significant to just about every health outcome in the human body. So we are continuing to develop and to build that scientific portfolio and story.
That's excellent. I mean, there's so much, like you were saying, when you're talking about the microbiome, we're learning so much. And I know that this is touched on your website as well, but the immune connection, which obviously is so important, as we've learned over the past year. So just a lot going on there, and keep us up to date on new research as it comes out. So important.
We will.
And so I'm wondering, as we talk about research and we talk about the science behind it, especially that gut whole body perspective or connection we know exists now, we're learning so much as it comes out. How have you seen that change the consumer perspectives around, prebiotics and overall digestive health? And how has that translated for you as a company? Are you treating those audiences differently in terms of the types of education and types of benefits that you bring out and communicate to them?
Well, firstly, the consumer is so smart. If you take the consumer for granted, you're an idiot. These people read the back of labels. They understand. They get onto the internet. They research what they're taking.
Yeah, our industry more than probably any other, right? So
any other. It's very important. And since COVID, we've found that the consumer is even more focused on their individual health and their family's health. and trying to mitigate risk for their bodies in the future. So as far as the prebiotic story goes, that's only just starting. Probiotics have been well known now, certainly in America, and pretty much all around the world. China, Asia, Europe. Italy is one of the biggest per head of capital probiotic users at a consumer level. So probiotics are well known. Prebiotics have just started the journey. And we see some nice prebiotic ingredient manufacturers out of the US and around the world. Again, they are extracts, and in many cases, you need, like inulin prebiotic, you need 11 grams versus 600 mg. So, there's a whole lot of differences. However, the consumer, I think, now is starting to understand that prebiotic, the food that feeds the probiotics that we either put into our gut or we have naturally in our microbiome, is as important as, if not more, than the probiotics. So that whole prebiotic movement is starting. There is also, with our ingredients, I would say over 50% of all brands that formulate with either Actazin or Livaux incorporated with a probiotic. And we have done a whole lot of research around how we increase the longevity of the probiotic when it is formulated with Actazin and Livaux in the microbiome. So the symbiotic effect of the pre and the probiotic, it has probably been going longer than the prebiotic. We're finding now globally that people are now just wanting that prebiotic effect. We're getting companies putting a prebiotic shot together globally. So, it's just, and Actazin and Livaux in these. We've got major corporations now that are formulating with Livaux, especially because of the Faecalibacterium story and the very targeted prebiotic effect it has. And what we're also finding is that more and more it's going into functional food. Whilst the supplement market is still strong and is still growing, functional food is catching up more and more. And the likes of having a kiwi fruit powder, okay, it's Actazin and Livaux, and our other products we have, in a functional food, and be able to have a shot, or be able to chew a breakfast bar, or to be able to have some cereal with Actazin or Livaux in there. It's more convenient. It kind of takes away I have to take the supplements. It's, there's a whole lot of good reasons. So the consumer is a lot more focused on prebiotic. But I believe it's only at the beginning of its journey. More and more every year, we're getting greater uptake on that prebiotic story.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, consumer awareness is growing, and as more research continues to come out, that'll just continue to be the story. And with so many formulation opportunities too, the flexibility, just a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think, just two quick things here. Number one, there's a path you could have taken where you figure out how to make an ingredient out of this traditional concept of taking kiwis, and then be done, right? But I love the fact that you're continuing, you perfected that process, you're continuing then to go after the science, go after different angles of it to really expand the horizons of the ingredient. And as we learn more about digestive health, then the ingredient expands with that in terms of functionality. I think that's really cool. The last thing I'm going to say is right after we get off this, I'm going to go out because I've never onto the website. I've never seen a kiwi farm. I want to check it out. So thanks for letting us know where to get more information. It's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I wish you all the best for the day, and we'll be speaking again soon.
All right, great.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Chris.
Chris.
Thank you.